New year, new me. A time where people wipe their plate clean of all the bad stuff that happened to them in 2022 and look forward to the future. Unfortunately for OTK though, what they have to wipe off their plate is the founder of their organization intentionally minimizing and covering up their best friend's sexual assault. If you don't know about the Mizkif Crazy Slick cover-up situation, I have multiple videos covering it in depth, and I implore you to click the cards up above to get caught up on all of this. But for those of you who are in the loop, you'll know that OTK made a statement last September stating that Mizkif is temporarily stepping down as a member of the organization while they conduct a third-party legal investigation into the allegations that he covered up sexual assault. And yesterday, right on New Year's Eve, OTK finally gave us an update on this 3-month-plus long legal investigation into Mizkif. In the tweet, they say, on September 20th, OTK began the process of contracting a third-party law firm to investigate the conduct and allegations made against one of our founding members, Mizkif. We proceeded to retain Jackson Walker LLP, one of the largest and most experienced neutral investigation firms in our state. The scope of the investigation was to determine whether or not Mizkif attempted to cover up or minimize sexual assault allegedly committed by one of his former roommates. Jackson Walker was granted free rein to gather all relevant facts, interview witnesses, and advise OTK as to whether evidence supported the allegations. Mizkif was placed on unpaid leave for the duration of the investigation. According to Jackson Walker's investigation, Investigations Counsel did not find direct evidence that Mizkif attempted to minimize or cover up sexual assault as alleged. Nevertheless, OTK believes that Mizkif has shown a callous disregard towards the severity of sexual misconduct and racial prejudice in our space. His statements regarding these matters on his comeback stream on October 11th demonstrated a lack of empathy and ignorance towards the seriousness of the situation and the impact that his conduct has on our community. Due to his actions, the OTK Board of Directors has suspended Mizkif from his board duties effective immediately, and he will be placed on monitored probation until he demonstrates to the board that he is capable of upholding our organization's values. His status as an OTK member has otherwise been reinstated. OTK stands firmly against sexual harassment, assault, and bigotry of all forms, and is committed to upholding its core values of equality, respect, and inclusivity. We appreciate the support of our community throughout this process, and will continue working tirelessly to ensure our organization is one you can be proud of. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am far from proud of OTK after this statement, and I have a lot of issues with what they said. So the worst part of this statement, in my opinion, is the sentence, Investigations Counsel did not find direct evidence that Mizkif attempted to minimize or cover up sexual assault as alleged, acting as if this allegation came up with no proof to back it up. When Adriana first talked about this in depth on her stream, she showed a clip of Mizkif very directly and deliberately minimizing Crazy Slick's actions towards Adriana Lee.
I told him, I'm like, look, you didn't rape anybody, you know? It's one thing, I feel like, I mean, like, he didn't do anything. He didn't. And, like, people make it seem like he did. When people, like, think of it, they think that he stuck his fucking dick inside her without her consent. And I'm like, that's what people perceive it as. People probably don't even know the situation. I don't think there's a single person that we used to hang out with that doesn't hang out with Slick anymore because of what happened. I actually think there's literally none. Because the reality is, worst comes to worst of it, it's fucking, like, sexual harassment, right? I mean, like, no one, of what you can deem of it, it's sexual harassment, whatever. At a low scale, it's not really a big deal. I don't think people really gave a shit and really cared.
So after watching that clip, it's pretty obvious why a lot of people were alleging that Mizkif was minimizing sexual assault. This is why the story got big. This is why people got so mad. It wasn't just Adriana Lee saying, fuck Mizkif, and everybody believing her and automatically shitting on Mizkif with no proof. This is the clip that got people angry. And to say that is not direct evidence of minimizing sexual assault would actually probably be right legally. I'm no law expert, but it could be argued that Mizkif didn't know the extent of what Crazy Slick did to Adriana when he made those statements, which makes him legally exempt from minimizing the situation because there is no direct evidence that he knew the full extent of the situation when he made those comments. And I don't think the law firm Jackson Walker LLC would allow OTK to post a statement like that if it wasn't legally sound. But the thing is, people aren't mad at Mizkif because he broke the law. We're mad at him because he's a piece of shit who continued to protect his best friend, who he knew did some sort of awful thing, in addition to blacklisting and cutting off Adriana Lee from social gatherings just because she was the victim of Slick's misconduct. Everybody knew Mizkif was guilty of being a piece of shit before this legal investigation was ever launched. The only reason OTK launched a legal investigation was to protect their ass from getting sued, as well as giving the audience a flimsy excuse to keep Mizkif in the organization. And people may say, oh, but Jackson Walker LLP is one of the most experienced neutral investigative firms in Texas. With a reputation like that, how do you have the balls to doubt their judgment on this? Well, I actually don't doubt their legal judgment, as after this investigation, I am confident that Mizkif cannot be prosecuted for this, but just because they did a good job for doing what they were paid to do doesn't make them neutral. They were literally paid by OTK, an organization founded by Mizkif, in order to prove that Mizkif is legally innocent. A member of OTK that everybody in the organization has every reason to want to keep on, as he created the brand, and the brand financially profits from the large audience he pulls to them. I mean, even at the end of the statement, despite acknowledging that Mizkif is a piece of shit and is not taking this shit seriously, still leaves open the possibility for him to get back onto the board of directors if he demonstrates he is capable of upholding the organization's values. Guarantee within less than a year, Mizkif is going to be in the exact same position in OTK as he was prior to these allegations coming out. The goal of all of this is to minimize damages and save Mizkif and the organization's reputation, not to give a neutral and fair verdict on this entire situation as a whole. I mean, Jackson Walker LLP is a law firm. Their job is to prove their client as innocent as possible within the confines of the law. Everything on their webpage about investigations says their goal is to get outstanding results for their client. And as said by OTK themselves in their statement, they are the ones who contacted Jackson Walker for this investigation, making OTK their client. So their goal is to make them look as innocent as possible within the confines of the law. And they can talk about putting Mizkif on probation all they want, but let's be real, Mizkif is OTK. To the point where when Mizkif blocked me on Twitter for a tweet I made, he also had the OTK account block me shortly after. Meaning currently, at this point in time, he is involved with and responsible for the organization enough to have control of their main social medias. I mean, young Jeff could have been frantically blocking everybody who responded to the OTK statement alongside Mizkif on New Year's Eve night, but I'm pretty sure he was doing what everybody else was doing and drinking White Claws with the homies on New Year's. By the way, Jeff, you seem like a cool guy. I have nothing against you, and I'm kind of sorry you had to be put through this mess, as I'm sure you're doing a good job. But all that is just to say that there is no way that the intention of this investigation was to give a neutral verdict on the situation as a whole, but rather to prove Mizkif legally innocent of malicious intentions that cannot be 100% proven, and to help give OTK and Mizkif headlines like this in order to trick their viewers into thinking everything's okay. Look guys, he's proven not guilty! Mizkif is awesome again, yeah! Pog, 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 pog! Guys, just because it can't legally be proven doesn't mean that it didn't happen. You saw the clips, you saw the footage. Mizkif was clearly minimizing Crazy Slick's sexual assault on Adriana, and while in a court of law, he probably could argue that he didn't know the extent of it until after he minimized it, which would make him not legally liable. Let's be real, Crazy Slick was his self-proclaimed best friend, and in the Discord call, he was way more concerned with losing Crazy Slick as a best friend rather than the well-being of Adriana Lee or anything else for that matter. I mean, his disrespect towards the situation even after everything came out was so blatant that OTK had to address it in their newest statement. How are you gonna believe a guy like that wasn't actually intentionally minimizing the sexual misconduct of someone who is his self-proclaimed best friend? Even though there is no direct evidence that could prosecute him definitively in a court of law, you have to be giving insane levels of benefit of the doubt and intentionally ignoring his disrespectful and dismissive behavior for this entire situation in order to believe that he wasn't intentionally minimizing the situation. Even the people who accept this answer from OTK have to acknowledge this was primarily done for PR. And with PR in mind, I've gotta say, this was a genius move to post on New Year's Eve. The time where viewers and creators alike are so busy celebrating New Year's that they can't even be bothered to look into this right now.
You really want me to do this, like, right now? You want me to cover this literally like 10 minutes out from fucking New Year's Eve? Like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, some of you motherfuckers need help, dude. I swear to God. I'm over here trying to keep the vibes up, okay?
I know that if I weren't a content creator, despite probably still caring about the situation as a viewer, 3 months later, honestly, I don't know if I would care enough to stop my New Year's festivities in order to read this, let alone care about it the next day when I'm hungover. And I do think that was intentional on OTK's part. Maybe it's a little bit too conspiratorial to some of you guys for me to say all this, but part of the job of being a famous content creator, and especially being an organization that ties together and represents large content creators, is to think about what is the best way to present yourself online in order to gain the most money possible. OTK isn't just a group of friends, it's a business. And I think to ignore that just because they started out as people in their bedrooms talking to a screen is just being willingly ignorant to how this industry has evolved over the last decade, and what the goal of a content creator organization is, which is to protect their creators and make money first and foremost, not stand firmly against sexual harassment, assault, and bigotry of all forms, while upholding core values of equality, respect, and inclusivity. Like, of course, most people don't like any of those things, but it's hard to believe you stand firmly against it when you reinstated Mizkif as a member of OTK after it's been proven time and time again, even by OTK in this very statement, that Mizkif does not hold those values. And if OTK did uphold those values, I don't think Jay Schlatt would have left, but hey, that's just opinion and speculation, as a content creator who has been watching this go down for the last couple months. But that doesn't mean your opinion's invalid. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comment section below. And don't worry, I know about the alleged rapist in OTK, Rich Campbell, and to throw a bone to OTK, it's pretty good of them that they just straight up kicked him out of the organization. Although that might be a little too generous considering that it was more of a mutual decision to resign. Maybe Rich wasn't confident in the Jackson Walker investigation he might have to go through, I don't know. But despite my current feelings on that situation, I am going to wait for his response to come out before I make a full video on it and give my complete opinion, as it is only fair. If you don't want to miss that, be sure to subscribe with notifications on. If you want to catch up with more aspects of this story, be sure to click on the videos on the end card right now. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.